Any other last minute questions before we go on to Alicia? All right, well, Sarah, thank you so much. And Alicia, it's your turn. Take it away. You're muted.
Okay, am I unmuted now? All right. I feel like a slacker. All of you had these beautiful presentations. I'm just going to show you my class. Okay, so I'm Alicia Skipper and I teach English. Can you all see my class? Yes, okay, good. All right, so I wanted to talk about peer review and using rubrics. And the reason I want to talk about peer review is because it's a really great thing to do to get students to collaborate. And even though it's kind of thought of as an English thing, and I teach in the English department, I find a lot of my colleagues don't want to use peer review because they don't feel like the students give each other good quality feedback. And consistently, every time I get student evaluations, under the most helpful thing for students, they list peer review. And I don't think it's because of the quality of feedback. I think the primary thing is that students like to get feedback from each other and they like to see each other's work. And it's not just the whole point of, can you help me fix this? It's, oh, your writing's not great either. Okay, I feel a lot better, because those writing blocks are really real and they're scary. And students always feel like they're worse than everyone else in the class. And then when you do have groups where there are really good models, that also helps them understand things as well. And when they start looking for things in each other's work, then they can look for it in their own work as well. So I don't necessarily look at, okay, this is an opportunity for you all to fix all your papers and end up with A's. I look at it as a way for students to connect with one another, to be part of a writing community, and to understand that they aren't alone in the process. And it can work for anything. It doesn't have to be just an English class. You can do it for any of your courses that you're taking or any project that they're working on. But what I have realized is that students need to have preparation. You can't just throw them into a peer review assignment without having any introduction. So I've set up some of the assignments that I do use in my Tinker Shell, and I was just kind of going to walk through some of those so that if you're thinking about doing peer review, this is a really good way to do it. So the first thing that I do is I start off with a peer review practice. Now, typically I do peer review in a situation where they're turning in an essay. And what I do is I use a sample essay for the first practice so that they can be actually critiquing a past student's work. And of course, I get permission and all that from the student. And so I post, of course, explaining what peer review is. Then I post a video that talks about what peer review is and shows students actually giving peer review so they have some model to go by. And then they have the essay that they read, and then I give them questions of things to look for within the assignment that reflects the guidelines. And so they're able to use those. So the first time it's just practice and I give them feedback on how well they did. And then they have their rubric that's attached so that I can, tell them like how effective they were. And so that kind of prepares them for that. Then, so I usually like the week before, or we're going to do a peer review. Then after they do the practice peer review, I have them reflect on it. And I know sometimes like we think of like reflection as not, it's one of those metacognitive activities that we sometimes don't think are that important, but it actually does help students to really be thinking about what they're doing and why they're doing it. So again, I have another peer review demonstration, this one face-to-face. And then I have them reflect on what they think might be helpful and what their concerns are, because the first time they do any kind of peer review, they feel really self-conscious about their work and they're concerned about that. And so this is a chance for me to address those in the comments so that, I'm saying it collectively to everyone, don't worry, we're all going through the same thing, but it's better if I can say that individually and address their individual concerns, and then the reflection gives them a chance to think about it, and then for me to respond to any fears that they might have, and hopefully that helps. Then when we get to the actual peer review assignment, I make sure that they know, oh, sorry, me going over peer review. And I hate that I hear my Southern accent every time. Sorry, my dogs are having a fit. So then I give them a video of how to give peer reviews. And then in my instructions, I walk through what the peer review will look like. I explain what they should be looking for. I explain how to go back in and find the peer review. And then they also have the written instructions as well. But this way, it just kind of gives them a better idea. They also, in the essay assignment, I give them a video where I'm walking through the essay and explaining what they should be doing in each part. And then for the first time, I give them questions. I try to make them really open-ended so that they can't just answer yes or no. And then in this case with the rubric, you can set up the rubric when you do peer review so that they're giving each other feedback on the rubric. Now, I don't want them to grade each other. I'm still going to go back in and do my own feedback, but this way they can just kind of see from the rubric, okay, your draft is excellent, you're doing good, you're following what Professor Skipper said, this is some issues, but this is what to work on. Plus they'll have their feedback and then just need work. So that just kind of very simple things that they can clip on where they're not feeling, oh my goodness, I'm crushing someone and I have to grade them, because that's too much pressure for students. I mean, I know when I was a student and I was asked to grade other students, I didn't like that at all. So I just try to keep it this way so that it's simple, so that they're still engaged in the process, and then they can still get that feedback. And so again, like attaching the rubric so that they're all there to see what they're looking at for. The other thing, I didn't explain how to set up peer reviews. So when you do that, I always do, you can do manual assignment or you can do auto assignment. I find that it's easier to do the auto assignment because I always forget somebody no matter what I do. And then someone's emailing me going, I don't have anyone to review. So it's really easy to set up. You just go in and you hit peer review, and then you can assign the reviews per user. And then you set up a time for them to automatically create the groups, which is super helpful. And so I'm always like, okay, make sure you get them in, sorry, by 8 a.m. or, you know, I'm going to have to get you into a group manually. And if they're running late, I can get them in, but not after 24 hours, because then it's too hard. So, but it's great because it just automatically sets and I don't have to do anything and all their peers are there, and it's super handy. And then for the next assignment, and this is something that I just started doing, after the first peer review, I set up groups where, I'm so sorry about my dogs, where they can do peer review, do their own peer review questions. So I set up the groups ahead of time, and then they can go in and create their own questions as a group that they will use in their next peer review. Okay, and then that's pretty much it. So that's my peer review and using the assignments. And so I do have like a link to help them come up with questions, and then instructions, of course, on how to see their group if they're not sure how to do that. So I make sure I have all of that in Canvas as well. And I just encourage everyone to try to use peer review. It doesn't even have to be a major assignment. Sometimes I do it just for an outline or just for generating ideas, like giving each other feedback on proposals or things like that, or if they're doing a project together. So anyway, that is my peer review demonstration. And so that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Alicia. That is probably one of the best examples of scaffolding peer review that I've ever seen. I think it's just every step of the way is scaffolded so beautifully. We do have a question from Christy, and that's, what do you do if the student they are to review does not turn something in?
Excellent question, and that is a problem because it is not fair. So it's in my guidelines that if you do not submit, like if you post your paper, but you don't give your peers feedback and they give you feedback, you are not allowed to participate in peer review for the rest of the semester. I'm sorry, I'm over it. Because, and I don't mean to, unless there's like a serious issue where, there's something happened and you're really trying to get their peers feedback to them, because it's just not fair. And some students will do that, like they'll get the peer review and they won't give feedback to their other students. I had one student one semester, and this is why I'm so harsh now, who would always submit their paper and never give anybody else feedback. And so those students are missing out on feedback, and that's just not fair. So those are my rules. I make it clear up front. And since I've made that rule, it doesn't happen. So harsh, but
No, but so
Right,
peer
something.
feedback is a privilege. So it's not, I mean, so is it required, it's required for points in your class,
it is.
but so if they don't get to participate, they miss all those points.
That's right.
Okay, because I tried it this semester and it was a big flop. And so I'm really glad I got to see your presentation because I'm going to make some modifications. I think you do a fantastic job. And I agree with
thank you.
Alex, the scaffolding is really fantastic. I love that you have it written and in video, so clear. And so I'm definitely making some changes, but yeah, we flopped. I thought that's it,
Yeah.
never doing it again. But now
No,
I'm going to
but-
try it with some changes.
And they really do like it. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Every single evaluation, that is the thing that students list that they've gotten the most out of in the class. And I
Really?
think it's
Okay.
just that community thing. But yeah, you had to be a little rough on them. But you're right. It is a privilege, and it's not fair to the people that took the time to give feedback, especially since they're only going to get one shot at feedback and they're missing that other feedback. So that's kind of, and then what I usually do when that happens is I'll go in and give some feedback or something like that. But I just consistently for student doing that is just not fair. And that really did take care of the issue. So, anyway.
I have
Thank
one
you.
question. So you have the groups and then, but how do you do the groups if they're assigned randomly?
Oh, okay, the ahead of a time thing. So like so for the first peer review I did randomly. The second one, when I wanted them to create their own questions, I just did it ahead of time, and you can do it manually.
Those
You have the
groups?
option when you do peer review, like, let me see. I
So
can
the
show
first
you.
time you do it automatically, but then after they're in that group that first time, you keep their groups for the rest of the semester.
No, I don't. I let them be in different groups. That way they can get different experience with different people, but it's just for the second peer review, I set up the groups ahead of time.
Ah, got it. Okay.
That way they can add their own questions. So I want them the first time to just kind of not worry about creating their own questions and just, go with what I have, because that's too much pressure to be doing it the first time. And then the second time I let them develop their own questions and work in their group ahead of time. And then usually, so I have them reflect on their essays too, whenever they turn those in. And one part of that reflection is, what suggestions do you have for peer review? Would you like to stay in your same group? And if they want to, I try to do that for the third one, but if not, I just go back to the random.
Got it. Got it. Okay, cool.
But it's really, if you don't want to bother with the ahead of time groups, it's super easy just to set that time, and you get up in the morning and their groups are already done and some of them are already working. And then what I do is I have it due, like their essays due by 11:59 on Sunday night, or at least as long as they have it in by the time the groups are assigned on Monday. And then they have until Wednesday to give their peers feedback. Just kind of like the discussion board thing that everybody's mentioned, you have to give them time.
Awesome. Are there any other questions for Alicia?